So when you have the rock star of India's new economy ecosystem with you, you will definitely have to brace for a very interesting session. And the interesting thing which Ayush and I were discussing before this also is that you got to be on your guard, because I know Bhavish now for quite a few years, and his his penchant for repartees is also strong. So we have to be on our guard. Kahin ye humko kuch na pooch le ulta, So Bhavish Aggarwal, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, a very big hand for and we meet Bhavish today on a day when his stock price has doubled. Since his IPO hit the markets, which is pretty different from some of the other storied startup IPOs we have seen not very long ago. So first of all, congratulations, Bhavish, on the superlative performance of your stock.
Saurav, firstly, thank you so much for having me here. I know you had called me a year ago also, and then I was just too cautious in the run-up to our IPO, but I'm so glad I'm here finally. Very excited to be here with both of you. And on the IPO, like you said, when we listed, I'm new to the markets. I'm only 5 days old in the markets. But when we listed, I thought I had left some money on the table. But, 30-40% हमने investors के लिए छोड़ा है. But I think the ways of the market are unique. And, now who knows, it'll go up, it'll go down. But for us at Ola, the thrill and the focus is in value creation, not valuation. So, चाहे वो private market हो, चाहे वो public market हो, we want to focus on genuinely building long-term value. And I've said this in a recent interview that we are in the business at Ola Electric, we are in the business of building for a sustainable future, and we want to build the company in a sustainable way, which is a profitable growth journey. So there's a lot of stuff to do there. We're still in the early days, but looking forward to doing that and getting all of your support.
Like I was asking you before our session, Bhavish, as an entrepreneur, you're used to being free. You're the master of your own game. Of course, there are storied investors even in the private markets, which you had. But now with the public markets, there is a lot more scrutiny. There is quarterly pressures of earnings and performance. So how do you see this change? How has life been, or rather, what are you sort of apprehensive about, if at all?
Actually, Saurav, we're not apprehensive at all, and it's just been 5 days, so it's fresh out of the oven.
Yes.
But, the thing that I am feeling, the emotion that I'm feeling is actually our responsibility, like you correctly said, has gone up. So far in the private world, we were dealing with institutional investors' money, private equity money, which was rich people's money. But in the public world, we're dealing with public money. चाहे वो retail investor हो या फिर mutual fund is also retail investor money. So it's India's common man's money. So the message I gave to my team also is actually now we are investing the common man's money. So we have to be extra thoughtful about it. We have to wear the burden thoughtfully on our shoulders. And hopefully with that, we also focus on making sure we take long-term bets and deliver long-term shareholder value. I think in terms of doing what we think is the future, that remains our DNA. And I whatever limited time I've spent in engaging with the street, engaging with the public markets, people want a future vision. People want to build, they want to be part of a story which is building the India of tomorrow. And at Ola Electric, that's our mission. We want to build India as a global EV hub. And in doing that, as long as we are investing wisely, investing for delivering returns, I think the street and the investors will give us that platform to really take long-term bets. And hopefully we can stand up to the scrutiny.
And Bhavish, as you're scaling up the Ola vision, it's interesting to see how the company has really diversified over the years. Some would call you a disruptor, always going against the grain, right? When it came to disrupting the transportation sector, we had Ola Cabs. Then, as another Make in India product, we had, of course, what you're doing with Ola Electric, and then Krutrim as well. So what I want to understand is, and I'm not going to ask you the cliched question saying which is your favorite baby, but you did say that Ola Cabs is your pehla pyar, the OG Ola for you.
Yes.
But going forward, India at 100, if technology is the real driving force, what kind of synergies can we expect among these three companies?
Ayush, like you said, Ola is now not a single company. Ola is a group of companies. And when I started off my journey as an entrepreneur, I never thought I will end up here building multiple companies. But in some ways, the journey just took me there, right? It was very follow your nose or follow the light kind of journey for me. So I started with Ola Cabs, pehla pyar, abhi bhi pehla pyar hai. वो जिंदगी भर pehla pyar ही है, right? Then we got into Ola Electric, and then most recently Ola Kritrim. And each of these three companies has a very broad vision for itself. For example, Ola Cabs, which now we call Ola Consumer, wants to really create a technology-driven consumption platform to enable access for all. We are partnered recently with ONDC. We're doing a lot of things on electric logistics, automation of warehousing, etc., etc. On Ola Electric, like I mentioned, the world's biggest challenge in our generation is to solve for climate change and solve for sustainability. But the world right now is solving for it by selling luxury cars to the West. That is a solution only for 1 billion people. The rest of the 7 billion people need a different solution. And India is a great microcosm for the rest of the 7 billion people. And that's what when we set out with Ola Electric, we said we'll build products relevant for India, two-wheelers, three-wheelers, small cars, and the core technology which will enable those products. And that's why once I said, actually, Tesla is for the West, Ola is for the rest. Right? But there's a lot of thought behind that simple statement. Okay, thank you. Okay, the products that companies like Tesla, etc., will build are for the 1 billion rich people. The larger opportunity is to build for the global south, build for India, and then expand to the global south. That's what Ola Electric is doing with our products and now our gigafactory. We're the first gigafactory in India. Now with Kritrim, which is our most recent company, just December last year, 8 months old, the opportunity and ambition is to build India's AI tech stack. And for too long in India, we have used global technologies without realizing the implication of it. And I'll share some stats with the audience. If you look at the global tech industry in the last 20-25 years is a $30 trillion industry. And we in India have been big beneficiaries of it with the IT services boom. The IT services boom's market cap, 300 billion. 1% of the global tech industry. We have a long way to go. And we need to now dream to be the paradigm setters, not just the people doing the grunt work at the back end. So that's the vision with which we have started Kritrim, to really make India the global powerhouse. And India has actually a lot of strengths and a lot of risks in this journey. The risks are fairly obvious. We use global products. We all use WhatsApp. We all use social media driven by Western companies. All of our products in digital world are non-Indian. But the irony is we generate 20% of the world's data. 20% of the world's data, only about 10% of that is stored in India. So we generate the world's data, given that we are the largest population. Almost all of it is exported out of India. It's processed in global data centers into AI. What is AI? AI is just processed data. So it's processed in global data centers into AI, brought back into India and sold to us in dollars. Right? If you remove the AI here, this whole thing happened 200 years ago.
Reverse colonialism.
Yeah, exactly. Or colonialism. Right? So this is what is happening today. This is the cotton trade of East India Company into AI. The other ironies, we have the largest developer ecosystem in the world. We have the largest chip design ecosystem in the world. And Nivriti was here, she will attest to that. Like we say, every diamond comes through Surat. Similarly, every chip comes through India. But there is no Indian chip. Our digital ecosystem is full of ironies like this. That's what Kritrim aims to change by working with the ecosystem.
I have to build on that. You've given us one viral moment already. But it's interesting you say that, because in the tech and auto community, we've been viewing everything you've been doing for the past couple of years. And it's fascinating. You gave us a very good phrase out there in terms of Teslas for the West and Olas for the rest. We'll build on that. I'm sure Saurav will grill you on the numbers as well. But what's fascinating, Bhavish, is there's a gentleman in the US named Elon Musk. He has an uncanny, peculiar style of dressing, a very cool way of addressing his audience, building a community, takes on big tech and social media. So can I safely say, if Elon is for the West, Bhavish is for all of us?
I am just myself. I'm much younger to him. He is somebody who we all look up to. But, I don't know why he does the businesses I do. He should try something new for a change.
Let's probe you a little bit on this big tech.
I'm serious about it. I started Kritrim before he started his AI venture.
That's true. And of course, we prefer the kurta pajama any day to the leather jacket.
You know, if Silicon Valley people can wear leather jackets and black polo t-shirts, why can't we wear our kurta, right? And have long hair.
But, we've seen this part of you even on LinkedIn when you started this whole talking about woke and how it is this woke culture, your views against it. What keeps you ticking on this? You like to provoke big tech, don't you?
Saurav, I am a person who is very, I stand for what I believe in, right? And my life's journey, whatever little it has been that. I started as an entrepreneur, fought Uber, came up on top, then built Ola Electric when everybody was saying कि तुमको manufacturing नहीं आता है, तुम क्या करोगे manufacturing? And people were saying कि India में EV का कोई market नहीं है, and look at where we are now to Kritrim. So in a way, if the founding principle of a business is right and if your intentions are right, you will find your way. And for me and for Ola, our focus is always to leverage this India moment. We are at the best, most exciting time of our life, in my view, where India is growing. The future is going to be built by Indians. 20% of the world's growth is in India. A lot of the young people are in India. So India is only going to increasingly set the agenda in the world. Now, what's happening specifically on the woke thing you said, that's very peculiar about big tech and digital techs especially, because digital tech is not just about tech. It's not just about economic productivity. It's also about a certain cultural appropriation of a civilization. And you see today, because we use global platforms like Facebook, like Snapchat, or like Instagram, their debates are increasingly our debates. Their pop culture is increasingly our pop culture. If you see, maybe this generation not as much, but the Gen Z, or the Gen Alpha, or whichever generation is going on these days, they are watching the global debates more than the Westerners themselves. So, and this is, digital tech is about economic productivity, and it's also about, conserving and promoting your own culture. And culture is not anything political; it's how we live every day. And it's very important for us in India to build our own tech stack accordingly. Now, what happened in that woke thing was, if you go to LinkedIn, it'll force you to choose your pronouns now. If you don't choose your pronouns, it'll refer to you as a they, right? And this pronoun political debate is not an Indian debate.
That's what you protested against.
Yes, because our culture traditionally has had a very broad acceptance for all kinds of people. But we've not made it into a political activism of pronouns and wearing your identity as a political tool. But this is the Western debate which is coming into India through these platforms in a very innocuous way. And this is what I don't believe this is the right thing for India. And unless civil society stands up, because these are not things you can regulate. So,
but Bhavish, I have to ask you that. And as someone who's part of the generation that is adopting that narrative, just to figure this out, because we work in the media content space, your comms team must have told you that's not the ideal thing to do. You might come off as tone deaf to a lot of people, but you still did it. So what was going on in your head when you actually put up that post and called this culture out, woke consciousness or woke culture?
I forget what exactly I called. Woke illness or something. I have my own honest assessment of that particular political ideology. And it is not about being an inclusive culture. We run the country's largest all-women factory. Our Ola Electric's factory is 100% women run. 100% women. Thank you. And we didn't do it for earning DEI points. We didn't do it for earning an ESG score. We did it because we thought it's the right thing. That in India, you need to set examples where people can get inspired by the fact that, women can run an automotive factory. It's not a knitting factory, or it's not a electronics light touch factory. It's a heavy automotive factory. And we there have now almost 5,000 girls who are running the show. Now, given that we are very honest and clear about how we want to focus on diversity and our efforts, genuine efforts towards it, some of these things which are Western imports don't sit well. And while the PR team might say कि ये सही नहीं है, but when did an entrepreneur listen to their PR team?
Bhavish, we'll carry on with the questions, but as you had said that you're open to taking questions even from the audience. I think my colleague Siddharth Zarabi wanted to ask you something even as we talk.
Yeah, I have it now. Thanks very much, Saurabh. In the context of what you've been doing in AI, I just wanted to ask you, it's taken us 5 years to come up with the draft and finally the act of digital data protection. Hopefully the rules will be notified very soon. But there's a lot of concern that this law may not fully address the challenges that emerge out of AI. Since you are so heavily invested in that, what are your thoughts about AI and data protection and things like avoiding bias and protecting the core rights of Indians in an AI era?
So that great question, very relevant question also. You know, if you see there are two themes that I pick up from your question, and I'll answer both. One is data sovereignty and one is bias and political correctness or the lack of it. You know, if you see the current direction the world of AI is going in, every big tech company is playing God or playing the lawmaker and the judge, that they will decide what is right and what is wrong. In my view, that right is only with the law of the land. And the law of the land should be supreme, and the law of the land should be applicable to whichever AI model, whichever social media company, whatever digital platform is running in that country. And even more so for a complex country like India, where some of these nuances are very important to protect according to the law. So it's not what Elon Musk says is right, or it's not, you know, we cannot feel that Google खराब है तो चलो Elon Musk है वो हमारे लिए Twitter को unbiased कर देगा. Right? We cannot rely on one white man and his white man burden syndrome, right? we have to make sure social media AI algorithms are fully subservient to the law and the parliament of the land. Now that will need some policy, that will need global leadership, thought leadership from the Indian government and the Indian tech ecosystem, because this is not the way the world is going. The world is, like the US ecosystem is not moving in this direction. The Chinese ecosystem is not moving in this direction. The Europeans are not moving in this direction. India, through its DPI movement, actually, where we have a unique lens on digital public infrastructure, where digital platforms for social good beyond just capitalistic good. That is the theme which can amplify this, but it will need a lot of work. On your data protection theme, I really believe one of India's core strengths in this future is our population scale. 20% of the world lives in India. We're also more younger. We generate more per capita data than the average Westerner or the average Japanese guy. This data scale is our strength, and we need to bring strong policy and implementation of policy on data sovereignty, data residency, data management in the country, data decision making in the country. It's not just about the data sovereignty layer. The whole stack of data management needs to be through policy and through implementation brought into India. And that's what will really give us control to us Indians for our AI future.
Bhavish, let me come back to what the markets are loving, the Ola Electric, stock, and your recent big bike launch. Now, again, true to your nature of being a disruptor, you've disrupted it on the pricing front as well. Now, that will obviously be, much of chatter will be generated among your competitors as well. Where do you see volumes in that sense on the bike side, given the fact that overall you will be snatching volumes from some of the competitors? Is the overall pie growing enough, and what's your sense on that?
You know, if I can share a slight light-hearted comment, I'm a Shiv Bhakt and I believe in creative destruction. Yeah, so because that's the way of startups also. Yeah, you have to disrupt to create something new, and startups are all about that. Now with bikes, if you look at India's EV movement in the last 3 years, Ola Electric is a 3-year-old story only, and in 3 years we've gone from 0 sales to today, listing the company being whatever $7-8 billion in market cap in just 3 years. And that's not because something we did, it's just because the Indian consumer was ready for a great product at the right price point. We started our journey with the scooter, the scooter segment from the premium scooters, and then moved down the stack into more mass market scooters. And today we have a portfolio of about 5-6 scooters. The next phase, the next EV frontier in India is going to be the motorbike. There is action happening in cars, etc., but what low scale pe chal raha hai. Cars is going to be the next phase after this. But before that, motorbikes is the next phase. Motorbikes make up about 2/3 of the two-wheeler market in India. A lot of Indians still rely on motorbikes, rural areas, urban areas, men, even increasingly more and more women in urban areas. Motorbikes is the big thing to tackle now. We have in the last 3 years built a lot of our supply chain, a lot of our manufacturing technology already for scooters, and all of that scales very nicely into the motorbike. The 4680 cell, for example, our own cell, the Bharat cell, that is common in the scooter, in the motorbike, and any other future products. So a lot of this cost efficiency that we get from the supply chain just easily scales into motorbikes. And लोगों को अब तक पता चल जाना चाहिए कि मैं pricing कैसे करूँगा. I don't know why people are surprised.
Bhavish.
That's true, but I'm talking about what kind of volumes are you looking at?
See, the thing about motorbikes is going to be 3 साल पहले ईवी के बारे में कोई जानता नहीं था जब स्कूटर शुरू किए. अब सबको ईवी के बारे में पता है. So the customer education is going to be much faster. People are already anticipating a product in motorbikes. People want to see electric motorbikes. People have already understood the proposition of electric, that it's cheaper to operate, and now the upfront cost is also equal to an ICE vehicle. So people are more ready and more willing to adopt now.
And you've already done that on the scooter side.
Absolutely, and we are only going to build on top of that.
Bhavish, I want to get to Bharat Cell and the Gigafactory and Krutrim as well, but very quickly, I think Rahul wants to ask a question from the audience.
Bhavish, you've just become a billionaire. How do you intend to spend your money? I saw that when you'd gone to the washroom, a lot of people were chasing you even there for selfies. So you're quite a youth icon at this moment. How are you dealing with your new popularity and fame? And the pressures of now being in the public markets, right? Which are very different from having your own money, doing with it whatever you want. You were telling me earlier that you've never invested in the stock markets before this. This is your first experience. So can you explain that and tell us a little bit about that? I find that tough to believe that you've never invested. This is the first time you're dealing with the stock markets. Individually as an investor, you've never bought a stock, right?
Rahul, absolutely. I have never bought a single share in my life. I have only built value in the shares through my companies. I have never invested in the stock markets directly or through any wealth manager or anything. I have never done that. In me and my wife together, we've never done that. Whatever money we had taken off the table as liquidity so far was all in a savings bank account and FDs or whatever. Yeah,
The finance minister will be happy to hear that.
But now I'm learning the ways of the market. Now obviously I do intend to, now that I have some more liquidity, I do intend to make some smart bets in the market as I go along. But but to your question, I think, all this net worth and all is just a notional number. It's not like मेरे बैंक अकाउंट में वो पैसा है या फिर मेरे को कोई कुछ करना है उससे. I still spend, and I hope to spend all my weekends in my factory working on new products with my engineering teams, building new things. That's what gives me satisfaction, and that's what drives me that's what drives me. And if I can call it, that's my swadharm, कि मुझे अपना जो मुझे अच्छा करना आता है, build technology, build products using technology, I want to contribute with that.
So what are you looking to buy or spend your money on with all the dollars that you've just got notionally? How do you intend to spend the money?
More factories, more data centers, more tech, more AI.
More tech, more AI. Bhavish, the gigafactories as well. And this is one question I wanted to ask you early on. With the Bharat Cell, which you showcased at the keynote very recently, it's no mean feat. The nomenclature, the fact that it's being made in India, and it's something that the world hasn't seen before. How crucial do you think that is to your plans of putting Ola and India on the global map? And really, that the EV hub that you're talking about, that really translates to reality with that.
Ayush, a very relevant and important question. One of the big changes in our life is the energy paradigm is going from a petroleum paradigm, which was a mining and refining paradigm. You used to mine petroleum and refine it, or mine the oil, take out the oil and refine it, and then burn it. This was the energy paradigm of our last 100 years. It's going from that to renewable generation and energy storage. And energy storage and renewable generation is not a mining, refining and burning paradigm. It's a technology paradigm. And that's where India has an opportunity overall to really get into the cutting edge of this technology revolution. This, just like semiconductors is all about technology. It's not about silicon or the sand. Similarly, lithium is not about the commodity called lithium. It's about the way you build technology, the way you build chemistry, the way you build the physics around it to really create products and sell technology which is cutting edge. So when we set up our cell effort 4 years back, when we started Ola Electric, that's when we set up our cell effort. We decided that we will build the frontier technology in cell. Not just the current, we will not license technology from China or elsewhere. We will not just use some old generation of technology, but we will build what 4 years ago we felt was the frontier tech, and that was the 4680 format. It's much bigger, more energy dense, much faster to charge, And then from here on, we can go into solid state cells, etc., which are the holy grail of energy storage in modern world. And that's what we've done. We are now set up India's first gigafactory. For stats for the audience, the world has about 2,000 gigawatt hour of production capacity. Almost 90% of that is in China in terms of cell production. India has 1.5 gigawatt hour, that is mine. I do hope to set up about 100 gigawatt hour through the course of this decade. Hopefully other people also set up more. So India for its own energy transition in grid storage as well as automotive will need about 1,000 gigawatt hour over by end of this decade or early next decade. And we should aim to build all of that in India and actually have more to sell to the world.
One question linked to the 4680, Bhavish, as we wind up, is essentially how, since you are now going to start, all your new bikes will be coming, or scooters will be coming out with the 4680 from 2025, you said that. How much of a pricing difference again will that make, since you're now making your own battery?
And also life after the FAME subsidy, just coupling that together.
Both. See, on the cell is the costliest component of an EV. It's the heart of an EV. In the ICE era, the position that an engine had, an engine, one would remember, just automotive company के पास engine होता था, उसकी गाड़ी अच्छी होती थी. Similarly, in the EV era, that's the cell. Because the cell defines the weight, it defines the range, it defines the charging speed. The charging speed is not a function of the charger, it's the function of the cell. So all these things of your vehicle depend on the cell. And the cell costs about 1/3 the cost of the vehicle, just the amount of cells that go in. And if we make our own, we will be able to make it about 25-30% cheaper. So all of that margin saved will go to my bottom line. And life after FAME subsidy, see, the FAME subsidy has anyways reduced significantly in the last 2 years, and the government has indicated a tapering off of it. We are very supportive because the industry has responded positively. Industry continues to grow as the FAME subsidy continues to come down. So in our view, another 2-3 years, industry will be able to stand without any FAME subsidy.
You know, Saurav, we thought we'd start this session in a different way. And I thought we should say, kursi ki peti bandh lijiye. Because like Ola Electric says, Bhavish wants to end the ice age, pun intended, and he's gone a long way in doing that. But it's been a fascinating session, and honestly, more power to you. And the next time we do have this conversation, we hope that it's a much bigger Bharat cell we're talking about and a much bigger gigafactory as well.
And the investors are watching, of course.
Thank you, both of you, Saurav and Ayush. Wonderful speaking with you. Thank you for having me.
Big hand for Bhavish Aggarwal.
Thank you so much, Bhavish, for that electrifying conversation. Thank you to both Ayush and Saurav. Let me now request to please have...